Rose.
Yeah, Rose was the Rose was that. Thank you. Rose was the woman from. Oh, she walked into Radish's.
Yeah.
Yeah, into my wood shop.
Wood shop.
Right. To your wood shop house. Yeah.
What's the word for a wood house?
Wood house.
Your
Wood house with a shop in it.
I assume you live in your wood shop, like all great carpenters do.
Right.
And
I have a loft.
Yeah.
Nice.
Rose was like, I want you to put this orb on this staff.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
Or like her father asked that, and then she inherited it. And the soul stone was supposedly big enough or great enough to hold a dragon stone.
Yep.
That was the stone that later took your soul, Raz.
Right.
Yep,
And
right.
you killed Rose?
I killed Rose to death for sure.
and you, Raz.
Right.
Yeah, we killed Raz.
I killed Raz.
In connection with that.
And that day was the first time I bonked an enemy with my training sword.
Yeah, it was a big day for all of us.
That's
Really
right.
I should
Probably
say
the most important
we
thing.
thought we killed Rose, but she came back in the battle of
The Battle of Etama, the battle
Etama, yeah.
outside
I
of
was
Tower
very
Town.
upset about that.
we all were.
Yeah, indeed.
I heard about it.
But yeah, so that's so Radish, welcome back, and oh hi, look at all these people that have joined us. Hello and welcome. But yeah, what that means is it's been 6 months since Radish, played by Bridget Copes, last appeared on Knights of Prospect.
Yes.
So that's very, very exciting.
Yay! Welcome back, Bridget.
Yay!
Welcome
Thank
back,
you.
Bridget.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to get to play again. Yeah. Hi, I'm introducing myself now. Hi,
Awesome.
I'm Bridget.
Hey, go for it.
2MB folks if you are a regular 2MB viewer, you may know me from Once Upon a Doodle, Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Sometimes doing silly voices, sometimes doodling silly characters. So if you're looking for any family-friendly entertainment, highly recommend checking out 2MB Sunday nights at 6 p.m. And tonight I'll be playing Radish, who is an elven ranger from the same hometown as Vil, which is how we met her 6 months ago, the last time that I was on. And yeah, so Radish is a woodworker. She made Vil's bow. And she has an animal companion who's a swan named Goosen, who you don't want to get on Goosen's you don't want to anger him. And that's Radish.
Awesome. Thanks, we're super excited. I'm Sam Hoare. I play Chauncey, the used-to-be boy wizard, now boy emissary of an angel of war. Things have
Horrifying.
changed, Bridget.
Been a busy 6 months.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. This is Knights of Prospect, a live improvised role-playing adventure. We're super excited that everyone's here. Hi, Kaylee.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kaylee Kane. I am here playing Vil. Last time Bridget was here, Vil was a ranger.
Yep.
Since Bridget was here, Vil died. Back to life. Now a forest revenant. Different class, different powers. Same Vil. Mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly, yeah. The things are different. You'll hear all about it, Radish. And Sumit, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm Sumit. I play Raz, short for Raspberry, the human cleric and a priest. And been having fun. I think I've raised more beings from the dead than I have killed, which I feel good about. I feel like
Yeah,
I've
it's
been
a net
positive
good.
with that.
Yeah.
Try to
Yeah,
keep
those
that up
dead
today.
things want to be alive.
Yeah.
So really, you're doing a lot of good work.
Do them a favor.
When you raise things from the dead, do they get like a true life again, or is it more they're sort of your?
I believe we haven't decided, and I'm curious to see whether we will or not. Because we kind of, like, we roll off into the sunset, and the monsters are left behind. So they must
Monsters?
be roaming around somewhere.
Got a lot of
The
cleanup
fact
to
that you
do.
called them monsters,
Yeah.
I think already
Yeah,
answers my
they're
question
good
somewhat.
We are
monsters.
suggesting the the type of footprints we leave when we walk out of town.
Monsters are my friends, though.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm John Serpico. I am the Game Master. I love being the Game Master of Knights of Prospect. I have several fun jobs here. One of them is that every time one of these great players wants to do something and the outcome isn't certain, like they want to attack something, they want to figure something out, I'm going to ask them to roll some dice. And on a roll, it's 2 6-sided dice. If anyone wants to show off their dice, now's the time. On a roll of 10 or higher, they get what they want. On a roll of 7 to 9, they get a little bit of what they want, or they have to make a tough choice. On a 6 or less, they don't get what they want. But no matter what they roll, something cool happens. And that's the important thing. So it's my job to make sure these folks are rolling dice and making big choices. This show, as Sam, as Chauncey laid out, is very, very improvised, meaning very, very little, if any, of this is written down. So it's my job to make sure that these folks are making big choices and rolling, and the combination of those choices and rolls create the whole world in real time. The other thing I get to do that's very fun as a game master is provide quick synopses of where we are. So here is where we are. The great city of Tower Town in the Riverlands is where these Knights of Prospect call home, and it's their job to protect not only Tower Town, but all of the Riverlands. And so they kind of wander and find danger and try to solve those problems and alleviate the danger and save people and make the Riverlands a generally better place. There are also big, scary, creepy things just out of view. We're not going to worry about those too much. Just know that they're there, and every so often something big and scary crops up that they have to solve. So that's
Fun.
Yeah, so that's the summary. We're gonna play right until 9 p.m. tonight, and for folks that are watching for the first time, welcome. If you want to catch up, because this is session 40, we have all of our shows on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and look up Knights of Prospect, we're there. And we are also a podcast, Knights of Prospect, available wherever you find our podcasts. So you've got options. I think that's it. Folks, let's go to the Riverlands and get started.
Let's go.
All right, this is one of those rare instances where I have written something down first. So I'm just going to go ahead and work through that here. All right. Keep digging, lads and ladies. It's an elven shrine. These things are full of all sorts of goodies. We see a woman in leather armor with a sword give orders to about 20 folks, all with shovels and pickaxes. They look like they've just started going to work on the ground around this very old elven shrine. "This is a payday, gang," she continues. "A big one." The shrine is beautiful. It's a statue of an elf in long robes holding a chalice in his hands on a stone plinth surrounded by smaller, very intricately carved stones. We see one of these folks, a man with a patchy beard and a big smile, smash one of those stones apart with a pickaxe. "No payday in that one, boss." In that moment, an arrow hits that man, and he drops with a scream. The boss, the woman with the armor and the sword, yells out, "Looks like this place has a protector. Fan out and find who shot that arrow." And the 20 or so people with shovels and pickaxes draw swords and knives and cudgels and fan out into the woods. Elsewhere, Radish and Vil. There is a ceremony in the Riverlands that is very important to elves, particularly those like you who are stewards of the forest. Radish and Vil, I want one of you to name this ceremony and the other to describe it.
It's called the Weeds of Wonder.
Weeds of Wonder. That sounds awesome. And what is the Weeds of Wonder about?
It is awesome. It's wonderful. In fact, the Weeds of Wonder Festival is it's really exciting. It lasts the whole week, but really what's important is midnight on the final night of Weeds of Wonder, we all go into the forest and we collect weeds, essentially. They have to be weeds that are able to be eaten by elves, slightly different than weeds that are able to be eaten by humans. But those of us that are gathering always know what to find. We bring it back into the town square. We wash them in the fountain, and we eat them. We eat the weeds. They're not particularly delectable, but it is the bounty of the forest, and it's an important ceremony.
Does this take place in Tower Town or somewhere else?
The washing takes place in Tower Town, and the collection takes place in the forest just outside.
Gotcha. So this is a very, very big deal, and for you, Radish, a reason to come out to Tower Town and see Vil. This is the first time you've seen her really since her rebirth. Though you did see her at the moment of her rebirth, when Vil emerged from the forest of Imlan after the forest kind of gave her back to the world. You presented her with a bow. That was the first thing that she touched upon her rebirth. And over the last several months, she's been doing all manner of things, saving Tower Town and becoming a Knight of Prospect officially. And this is your first time seeing her since then. So this was kind of the reason for the trip. It's, the Weeds of Wonder Festival was like the reason to see your old friend now that she's back amongst the world of the living. So, all of you are planning on attending. So Radish and Vil invited you, Raz and Chauncey, to attend the Weeds of Wonder. So, to go with them into the woods and pick weeds and then eventually to wash them and have this great gathering of elves and forest stewards in Tower Town. So it's all very, very exciting. But one of the more exciting things that's going to happen is there is another ranger. So Vil and Radish, there is a friend of yours who is also a steward of the forest like you that is going to join you in Tower Town. You've been exchanging letters, and it's very exciting. It's going to be something of a big reunion. So, so where in Tower Town did you decide to meet this ranger? To tell the ranger, hey, meet us here, and then we're gonna get going into the woods.
Well, naturally, we meet at the Elkcrest farmhouse so that we can get our supplies ready and be right at the forest edge for when the time comes.
Naturally. So the four of you are gathered there in the newly rebuilt Elkcrest farmhouse after the great battle of Tower Town that you all ended up winning after Chauncey and the rest of you kind of smote the great beast. And so you're all sitting there. You have that new farmhouse smell. All the walls have been repainted. New tables have been carved. And so the four of you are kind of sitting around catching up and waiting for this ranger friend of yours.
Thank you for inviting Chauncey and I to this wonderful celebration. We're excited to see and partake. It's my very first one.
Me too!
It will be very exciting. This ceremony was slightly different in Imlan, where we're from, but Tower Town does an excellent job.
They do. Well, I haven't been to this one before, but from what I've heard, I think it's going to be great.
Sure if it was customary, but I wove a basket in which to collect the weeds from the little woods that are behind my church.
That's beautiful.
I don't know what to do with it. Do you want it, or should I keep it?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Is there like a table for gifts or something? Because I pick some weeds from around like spots I like in town to bring to. Should I just put them in Raz's basket? Or
Chauncey, those weeds are extremely poisonous.
Yes.
So, why don't we not eat those ones tonight? But maybe you can save them as a memory and not eat them.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll keep them in my pocket. And so I always remember going to the weed festival.
Those are just for you, Chauncey.
And we can check anything you gather tonight.
Yes, maybe we should point out what we should be gathering.
Yeah.
And Raz, that basket looks really well done.
Yes. I haven't tested it out quite yet, but I'll just leave it here.
Okay. Do you want me to carry the basket, Raz? It feels
no,
like
I'll carry it. I'll carry it. Or you can. Either way.
Why don't I carry the basket? It seems like you're excited for me to carry it.
Well, I feel like no one should carry it until we test it out. Here, let me put my weeds in there, and we'll see how it goes.
Can I roll to see if the basket can hold?
You know what? Sure. I would have given it to you, but since we're rolling, we're rolling.
Come on.
6.
Okay. So, Vil and Radish, you've done this festival for a long time. You have woven baskets. You have been given baskets. Really, throughout life generally, you use a lot of baskets. They're super valuable and useful. The second that Raz held up this basket and said, "This is a basket I made," you knew it was going to fall apart really immediately. But, you kind of went through it, and under the weight of just a few highly poisonous weeds, a bunch of Raz used the wrong twine. Everything starts falling apart. It's oddly wet for some reason, so it's kind of a mushy basket. But yeah, you're all kind of there looking at, kind of a pile of wet straw, vaguely resembling a basket at this point.
Yes.
Oh.
It was still a beautiful basket.
It took me 2 nights to
Raz.
put this together, but apologies.
I'm sorry.
No.
You created a new weave. You invented an entirely new weaving method, which is something to be proud of.
Yes, that was a truly unique basket, and I'm glad that I just got to look at it.
Some things are too beautiful to last forever. I think that's the lesson here. So this ranger was supposed to arrive at kind of a prescribed time. So let's describe this ranger. So I want either Vil or Radish to name this ranger and everyone else to describe them, because Vil and Radish have been talking about this person for like a day or two now, and it's very, very exciting to see them. So you all know enough that we can kind of build this ranger together.
Yes, his name is Torley, and he is from Imlan, like us.
The first thing that I notice is that he's got on a headpiece that's kind of like a visor, but the visor is made of tree bark, so it's just like a giant piece of tree bark that's jutting out from his forehead.
Oh wow, yeah, and there's a really nicely woven fanny pack they have on. They're green and brown, very very pretty. Looks very sturdy.
And Torley always has a walking stick that is, it's like woven in this, it looks the same as the fanny pack. It's like a matching walking stick to the fanny pack. In fact, everything that Torley wears that's made of wood somehow looks the same as that fanny pack.
So coordinated.
Yes.
Indeed. And this is what you were all, expecting. You were expecting some point this person that Vil and Radish have described so thoroughly and in such fond terms. You had a very clear picture of this person walking in, big smile on his face, warm reception, and then the five of you get to go and pick weeds in the woods and have a big fun time.
Nice.
Torley does not show up. Instead, you hear Vil and Radish, for you, a very distinctive sound, a sound that you associate with Torley. The meow of his animal companion outside and panicked. Meow.
You hear that?
Yes.
I go outside and see his cat Grits just desperately turning in circles and meowing and scratching at the walls, and pick Grits up.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't worried about Torley being late. He often is. Elves are often late. We don't really keep time very well. But to see Grits separated from it's highly unusual.
Yes. Animal companions rarely, if ever, leave their rangers. The only time really they do is if so ordered. For instance, Vil, your animal companion Hobie, is currently managing a town as its acting mayor, just to the west. But Radish's animal companion, the Swan Goosen, is inseparable from Radish. So the fact that Grits is here and clearly looking for you and panicked is a problem.
And the fact that Grits let me pick him up is very, that he wanted that is very strange.
Yeah, Grits is kind of meowing and chirping in your ears, desperately trying to share, if not words, then a sense of panic.
Yes, I immediately recognize that something is not right here. I'd like to try and track where Grits came from, the direction that they hopefully both were at some point.
All right, sounds good. Let's go ahead and have you roll hunt and track.
Yes. Is that plus my wisdom?
It is.
Excellent. 9.
Okay, so you get enough of a picture here, and actually let's do it by flashback. A few years ago was the last time all of you, Vil, Radish, and Torley, the three of you, were together. It was in Imlan, and you were all going out for a hunt, a big one, taking down a large beast, and all of you, like Vil, this was after you and Hobie had kind of just escaped from like a very long contract, and you kind of returned home to kind of regain your ballast. And so, you and Hobie were relatively new working together, and Radish, you and Goosen were relatively new working together, and Torley and Grits were relatively new. So there really is 3 rangers, all at very interesting points in their lives, and their animal companions were new to them. And all of you were kind of sitting around a fire, preparing to kind of go deep into the woods for this hunt. And Torley kind of picks up this little forest cat and looks. Well, I've settled on the name Grits.
It's a good name.
Yeah. It's a strong name.
It's also the sound he makes when he's padding through the forest. He's the loudest cat I've ever heard. Can't hide his motions at all. You would think that a cat could, right?
Sounds kind of like you, Torley.
Well, my goal is to start shooting arrows before they even hear me to begin with. So, hey,
it's
Grits.
A good plan.
And Torley kind of turns Grits around, and you're like looking into this like little forest cat face. Grits, this is Vil and Radish. They're 2 of my best friends. Grits, if anything ever happens to me that you can't get me out of, I need you to find them, because they'll know what to do, okay? And Grits kind of like sleepily like nuzzles the side of Torley's hand, and Torley puts him down, and kind of Grits walks over, and Radish sniffs at your boots, and Vil sniffs at your boots, and then kind of pops back up into Torley's lap. And you'll let that sink in over the course of the fire burning down. Anyway, it's years later, and you're now all here again. And Vil and Radish, you both remember that conversation with perfect clarity as Grits the cat is kind of bopping his head against the both of you. Vil, you get a sense of obviously what happened. You're pretty sure that Grits could lead you to wherever it is Torley is in trouble. Also, Grits clearly hasn't eaten in a day or two, which means it's wherever Torley is, it's probably a day or 2 away, about as fast as a cat runs.
All right. Well, we're going to need a couple horses to get there more quickly. I'm going to go get some horses from Wilma. Radish, do you have anything to feed Grits?
Yes, I do. I've got some breadcrumbs right here.
Oh, perfect.
That's probably not going to be enough, but
Grits does not mind the quantity. Grits begins eating, and Goosen, who normally the second Goosen sees breadcrumbs, is all over it, is very deferential to Grits, who Goosen is very well aware needs it more. Vil, you go to Wilma, and as you approach, Wilma kind of narrows her eyes and says, "You're giving me that I need 5 horses in a hurry kind of look."
Phil, don't forget to bring me the biggest horse.
You know me too well, Wilma. And Chauncey is once again requesting the largest horse.
A really big one.
Yes, I know, Chauncey. Is there any chance Goliath is available?
Goliath is available. I just brushed him.
You're too good to us, Wilma.
Well, how many times have you rebuilt this place for me?
Just a couple by now.
And so all of you mount up, and Chauncey, you are on Goliath. Describe Goliath.
Oh, Goliath is huge. Tallest horse you can imagine. Everything about Goliath is gray. Gray, big flowing locks. Gray hooves, but big, bright blue eyes. Even though Goliath is huge, these eyes still look a little too big for this horse.
Yeah. Goliath is just, everything is just proportionally large. And Chauncey, let's just see how you do here. Why don't you just give me, this is Constitution more than anything else. This is, Are you able to maintain composure enough on this horse? So why don't you give me 2d6 plus your Constitution?
It's a 7.
Hey, all right. So
good giant horse. Good.
Yeah, the Goliath is not in the lead here. Chauncey is kind of battling with Goliath a little bit, who has very strong opinions about how fast Goliath should be moving, which are slightly different than Chauncey's thoughts.
Forward, Goliath! Forward! By the power of the militant!
Chauncey, you have to be patient with Goliath. He's getting older.
Goliath, fine.
What Chauncey doesn't understand about Goliath is that with peripheral vision as good as Goliath's, he can get distracted by almost everything. And Chauncey, with you waving your arms like that, it's really not helping to keep him on track.
No, Goliath sees like an owl.
Yeah, and as Chauncey kind of moves and flails, Goliath just takes that as an opportunity of, oh, you want me to go right? Yeah, no problem. And then Goliath will just go right and just start eating the bark off a tree. And then you have to stop. And so, you move fairly quickly, but not as quickly as you probably could. But still, it's, after a day of this, the trust between Goliath and Chauncey grows. And so you start climbing up into some foothills to the southeast. You're not really near any roads or any other towns. It's the corner of what's called the Silver Kingdom, which is in the Riverlands, this incredibly ancient forest that's kind of smack dab. It's kind of east of Tower Town and just like a great big circle. And it's super ancient. It's the closest thing to like haunted woods that you all know of. Nobody really lives there full time, though there are 1 or 2 elven enclaves kind of in it. But no human settlement because, well, everyone thinks it's haunted. Probably accurately thinks it's haunted. But so you're kind of skimming the outskirts of the Silver Kingdom. And, you're not going anywhere where there's people, but Grits is very, very insistent that you are retracing its path. The thing that's becoming very clear to you is, like, Grits came in a hurry. Like, this is tough going here. And so Grits got to you in a tremendous sense of desperation. Yeah.
Maybe we should make camp a little bit early tonight and give Grits some attention. Extra food, some first aid even.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's
Which-
looking worse for the wear.
Indeed. Yeah, Vil,
Yeah.
you kind of order everyone to dismount and you circle up your horses and make a fire and set a watch.
I'm gonna
which
go see if I can find a rabbit or a rat or something to shoot for grits. Need
Yeah.
some protein.
That is a good idea. Radish, why don't you go ahead and just give me a hunt and track roll, 2d6 plus wisdom.
5.
This is no, you know what I'm going to do? Let's call it a success. You're out there hunting for rabbit. And you're kind of crouching and you see a rabbit, and you're going to set a snare for it, but you want to do this quickly, and so you just draw your bow. Dur Iwanor, that's the name of your bow. And you half draw it and you just wait to shoot the rabbit. And as you're about to loose an arrow, that rabbit is hit by a different arrow. Actually, it's not an arrow at all, it's a crossbow bolt. Very inelegant weapon, the crossbow. Doesn't take a ton of skill to use. And so you kind of crouch down, and a man wearing some kind of patchworky leather armor kind of emerges from some shrubs, picks up the rabbit, yanks out the crossbow bolt, kind of nods his head, and then turns and walks away.
I'm gonna follow him.
You follow him. Big question is, are you noticed? Why don't you go ahead and give me 2d6 plus your dexterity.
Or
Okay. You follow him for a mile, and you're pretty sure he doesn't see you this whole time. He doesn't pay attention at all. And you keep following, and he's just walking, and as he's walking, he's starting to skin the rabbit as he walks, and you get up to kind of this little stone walkway, which in this part of the Silver Kingdom would be fairly rare, because again, not too many people are here. And you realize, just based on the switchback nature of the stone walkway, that this is leading to an old elven shrine. And so you keep walking up, and it's rising and rising and rising. You're walking along the path, and you see this man walk into a camp of about maybe 20 people. And the second he makes it to kind of the outer perimeter where some tents are set up, he kind of raises his hand and starts making this signal. And then 10 people with crossbows all stand up and are on full alert.
oh jeez.
They're starting to scan the area in groups of 2.
I'm gonna scurry. If there's a tree nearby, I want to try to scurry up a tree and then send Goosen to see what this shrine is.
Sure. So you kind of scurry up a tree, and you ask Goosen to get airborne and do a sweep, and Goosen does. And Goosen kind of relays to you what this shrine is. You kind of get a picture of it in your mind. Radish, what is this a shrine to? What elf? What you see is an elf in long robes holding a chalice in joined hands. So who is this? What is this shrine?
So this is a shrine to Luca, who is is known for abundance, sort of a symbol of abundance. So the chalice is the abundance of what the forest gives to the elves.
The fact that there are 20 people and they look all human camped out around this shrine means that these people are essentially grave robbing. Because there's a great myth amongst humans that shrines to Luca, because it celebrates abundance, are somehow full of treasure, and that's just not how it works. But shrines of Luca are very, very precious, and when they are found by by certain humans, they will get destroyed, which is very bad. So yeah, it looks like these folks are in the process of tearing down an ancient and very important shrine in the middle of the forest.
Okay. Goosen, we need you to go get Vil, okay? I don't think I can take on 10 of them on my own.
Some minutes later, Vil, Raz, and Chauncey, the three of you are sitting around, and Chauncey is currently showing you one of his new powers.
Watch this. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this.
Okay.
The only thing up my sleeve is a bunch of crackers and cookies and some crumbs. And now I reach into my sleeve.
Uh-huh.
And I summon my staff.
Wow.
Huh? Thank you. Thank you very much.
You didn't
Very-
show us what was in your other sleeve, but still, very magical.
I never really checked that sleeve.
I don't understand why you show us the sleeves, because the staff would not fit in your sleeves. It's
Right.
I don't understand the gesture.
Maybe if it was like a tricky sleeve, it would. So yeah.
Oh, a magic sleeve, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not. It's not magic sleeves. I just can do cool stuff now.
And the magic sleeve would not be as impressive as the magic, as the staff.
Hold on, let me try something else. I'm not going to look at anyone. I'm going to direct myself away from all of them. I face off into the woods, and I gently become a visage of holy terror.
Sure. So this is something. Now, Rez, you are a priest of Enteresh. And, you know, the relationship between Enteresh, the human god, and the angelic plane is very interesting. You know, you are aware that they are a related but very different set of beliefs. And so, you know, Chauncey kind of turns and faces away from you. And in a moment's time, there's this like beam of yellow light, the same kind of beams of light that you see like painted in churches of Enteresh. But this beam of light kind of instantly transforms Chauncey into like a 10-foot tall angel with wings and a sword, like, and it's this whole vision. And if you were facing him, even knowing that that's Chauncey, it would have tested your resolve in a very, very profound way.
Yeah, it tests my resolve for sure. That absolutely freaks me, so I draw my bow on it immediately.
I just go, ta-da!
When the trees echo and leaves fall.
Raz?
I am feeling a moment of something else. Enlightenment, maybe?
Raz, are you falling asleep?
Something powerful is happening inside of me. I feel good. I feel very good.
Yeah.
What is happening? Chauncey!
I come back.
Chauncey! Please do not do that again.
What? It's like one of the coolest things I can do.
Yeah.
That was
Ordinary,
extremely
Chauncey.
unnerving.
Rez, when you know your power comes from dialogue you share with a deity. Like, you are in constant dialogue, imparting his wisdom to the masses, asking for favors that he bestows to give you strength. What Chauncey's doing is a little different. It's like Chauncey's cutting a tiny little hole in the paper-thin layer between this plane and the plane of angels, and just letting pure energy spray through.
Oh,
Yeah, this was
vomit!
different.
I hate it.
What? It's awesome!
This was amazing because normally I experience enlightenment from the outside, and for a moment here, I felt it from the inside. And if you can feel that from the inside always, then I am very impressed, Chauncey.
Thank
This
you
was
very much.
extraordinary.
Oh.
I appreciate your comments. Vil, I perhaps it will take you a moment to adjust to my new powers, which I attained in order to help all of you. I think everyone's going to be a lot safer now that I have these angelic powers. So, because angels don't want to do bad stuff, and my powers come from them, so we are good to go.
If I may express myself for a moment, I'm feeling a little bit inadequate all of a sudden. That
Raz,
was very humbling.
you are plenty adequate.
I've been studying this religion for so many decades, and in a moment's notice, you made me feel something I've never felt before, and I want it back.
Raz, you
Do it again.
You are the don't do it again. Everybody is adequate. We have adequated so many people, and we have been adequating since we became Knights of Prospect. Don't
Phil,
you
you
see, Raz?
Phil, didn't you feel an endless joy, a joy that couldn't be pierced by any words or any events?
This is so nice.
Like ever or just now?
It just now in that
Oh,
moment.
absolutely not.
You did not? Because I did.
Okay. Well, maybe we could get you an ice cream cone later or something, but
yeah,
No,
and then I can
this
Raz,
is more than ice cream.
and then Raz, we can get ice cream and we can connect, and maybe you want to. I mean, if you want to talk to the militant, he's all about war. He's super smart, very tall.
It would be a blessing to be able to talk to anybody from the angelic plane.
Maybe we'll start with Tony then.
Who's Tony?
He's the little chair assistant to the militant. He's really cool.
Okay. Well,
I am
whatever.
very much wishing Radish was back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where is Pat?
It's you realize after a moment that Radish has been gone for some time, and you're all starting to kind of get that queasy feeling of, oh, we think trouble might be happening. And it's around now that Goosen the Swan arrives and kind of deliberately honks at you all and then gestures over his shoulder.
I think Goosen wants us to follow him.
How many animal companions am I going to speak to before I see Hobie again? All right, let's go. Chauncey, Raz, you better come just in case.
Okay. Oops, I left my staff. Wait a minute.
Boing!
All right.
So you all make your way up to, kind of up this path. You start walking on this winding path, and Vil, you instantly know this is the kind of like elven footpath that leads to a shrine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's how this is going to work: is Radish, I need you to roll 2d6, but you're not rolling for you. You're rolling for the people that are looking for you. So I want you to go ahead and roll 2d6, and Vil, I want you to roll 2d6 plus your wisdom for finding Radish before Radish is found by these 20 grave robbers.
Understood.
I rolled a 3.
Oh, I rolled a 9.
Oh, good. Okay. So you all start hearing the sound of like people at a distance, like they're not being subtle, like walking through the woods, like stomping over leaves and branches and calling to each other. And you realize immediately you are not alone, and that's probably the issue. And you end up seeing Radish, all of you, you're all kind of crouched down. You end up seeing Radish, up in a tree with her bow in her hand. And, Goosen kind of returns, and you all kind of make meaningful eye contact with each other. The four of you are here now, and, I'll save us a roll. You kind of get a bit of a sense of what's going on here. There is a shrine to Luca, the the elf that symbolizes abundance. Around that shrine is a circle of tents, and around that circle of tents are about 20 people that have established a bit of a perimeter. The other thing you notice, Grits noticed it and found a way to relay this, is tied to the base of the shrine is a very badly hurt Torley.
Yes.
So what do we all do about it?
All right. Is there anyone in the camps, or are they all blundering around the woods currently?
Which would you prefer?
I guess I'd prefer them all be in one place. All in the
All right,
camps.
let's roll for it. Why don't you go ahead and give me 2d6 plus just 2d6 straight up.
Straight up, it's a 7.
It's a mix.
Yeah.
There are probably about half of them kind of in the camp and keeping an eye out and working, and the other half are just kind of in the woods at various distances, making noise and, occasionally like poking spears or like hitting shrubs with cudgels, trying to find Radish. So there are 10 in this camp right now.
All
Maybe
right.
we can convince them that we're one of them, and in the meantime, try to sneak him out.
I wonder if we need a divergence.
Diversion.
Chauncey, can you turn into that horrifying thing at will?
Oh yeah.
Can you speak as it?
Yeah, I can say creepy stuff.
I'm wondering if you have to be respectful, but if you sort of appear as this terrifying being on the shrine and maybe tell them in some unkind words how terrible it is to desecrate a shrine like this, and maybe sort of chase them outwards, and the three of us can intercept them as they go.
Phil, I'll be honest, that's more intense than what I was thinking about, so I will definitely do it.
What were you thinking about?
I don't know. I thought maybe find some of them in the woods, pop out with my big scary face, scare some people away. I love your idea though. I'll go on top of the shrine and be big scary.
I thought you'd appreciate the theatrics of it.
I love it. As long as the lighting is good, I'm on board.
Really, these people deserve to be absolutely terrified.
Oh, I thoroughly understand. I pull my staff out and I say, Vil, we are clearly at war with these people, and I will do my darndest to utterly destroy what needs to be done. I give a big thumbs up to the militant.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm just gonna sort of let Chauncey off with that.
So all of you kind of get into ambush position.
Yeah.
And Chauncey, you're going to find a way to kind of sneak into the camp and get up on the statue and do this thing. I like this idea so much. You're not even going to roll the sneak part of it. You're just going to roll the Visage of Holy Terror. So why don't you give me a 2d6 plus Constitution roll, and we're going to work it all out.
to get in, I just do a magnificent tumble through the camp.
Just rolling.
Yeah, like a tumbleweed with a sense of divine purpose.
I'm just a
bouncing
ball. 8.
All right. So I'm going to give you a choice. You can get into a tent safe, or you can get to the statue and get shot once before turning into this Visage of Holy Terror.
This is war. I will be shot once.
I can heal you, Chauncey. Do it.
Okay.
So all of you are kind of low and waiting, and Chauncey, you start kind of tumbling and rolling. And all of you are watching this. It's not terribly subtle. It's not like he's rolling from tree to tree. He's more or less just kind of rolling a serpentine pattern kind of through a clearing. But it's working. And, he kind of gets through the tents and kind of around some people. And he starts climbing the shrine. And there's a woman there with she's got like kind of leather armor on. She's got a sword. She's giving orders. That seems like the boss. And she looks and sees Chauncey at the last minute and says, hey, wait a minute. And she draws a knife from her belt and throws it. And Chauncey, you're hit for 4 damage.
Ow.
But in that moment, you get kind of it sticks in your side, and you keep climbing the statue. And all of a sudden, Chauncey, why don't you describe what this looks like?
I climbed to the top. Despite your efforts, I have found my light. And I do a spin in my cloak.
Chauncey, don't do this. Okay. He did the spin. He always does the spin.
As I finish turning.
Quite glorious.
Does he do this all the time?
Yes, yeah, he does the spin all the time, for sure.
As I spin, the cloak seems to meld with me, and all of my movement is entrenched in shadow, and a huge tongue flops out of my mouth, and I start looking at everyone.
Yes, Radish, I'm sorry. I should have warned you. Chauncey's, you've seen it now. It's too late.
Yeah, Chauncey is contorting himself into a being of holy wrath, a non-Euclidean assortment of holy appendages that full terrifies one person in this crowd who literally runs because they're pretty sure they're about to die.
I'm super gross.
Yeah, everyone else starts looking at this weird, kind of strangely formed angel that's like switching rapidly between like an 8-foot tall angel with wings and like a demon, and like it's this whole feast for the senses, but not. So all of them are at minimum screaming and pointing weapons at it, which means that all of you get a free action to do whatever you want. And here's how that's going to manifest: is every failure is a partial success. Every partial success is a full success. So each of you gets to do a thing right now. Tell me what it is and roll for it, and I'll tell you what happens.
Yes, I am going to walk through leaves to the top of a nearby tree so I have a good vantage point on what's happening, and I am going to close my eyes and lay an arrow into the first 3 people I see.
Sounds like a plan to me. So, Radish, you haven't actually seen this before, but you see Vil kind of like close her eyes and hold her palms up and just kind of walk into a tree, and the tree kind of reaches out and absorbs Vil, and then you see Vil like appear on a tree across the way, bow out, arrows literally forming in her hand at real time, and just starting to pepper this group of people. So let's go ahead, Vil, and have you roll a volley.
Oh, so bad. So bad. I really can't get my eyes off of Chauncey. I keep trying to close my eyes and concentrate, but he looks, I can't describe it. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Game Master, I think you called it non-Lucidian, and I have to agree.
Look at me, I'm non-Lucidian.
It really is, and I can't quite concentrate, and I rolled a 4.
Well, that's still, because of what Chauncey is doing, a partial success, meaning 3 of them immediately go down. You just start, you're like, looks like, oh, that's gross. Oh, that's hard. Oh, and oddly, the arrows are still finding their marks. Eventually, someone realizes that 3 of their companions went down, and they draw and fire a crossbow bolt back at you, which hits you for 4 damage. Get it somewhere in your leg. But hey, there are 3 less grave robbers. Who's next?
I'm going to start under Vil's cover, running toward Torley, and have Goosen, as I'm running, next to me, just flapping his wings to try to distract anyone and just who's by me, so that they're off balance and can't get me.
Yeah, so you run to kind of aid Torley, and Goosen knows what to do and immediately just starts getting very personal with a couple of these people that are like trying to find Vil and Shooter. And so Goosen's like smacking them with wings and kind of running between their legs. And it's a very exciting time. Now you're at Torley. What do you want to do?
I'm going to use I always keep my tools with me. It's my handsaw to saw through the ropes that he's tied up with.
Gotcha. Torley, it appears, was in kind of deep meditation until all of this happened. And he sprung up his, Radish, Grits found you. Grits found you.
We've got you.
And
We've got you.
Yeah, you kind of saw through, and his arms kind of come out, and he, like the second he gets up, one of the other people, like one of these other grave robbers, kind of like draws a sword and like comes in, and Torley just kind of sprints forward, like catches the sword this way, and like delivers an elbow to his face, and then like starts sprinting off to grab his bow. Good work. Raz, what about you? What do you want to do?
Are there elves buried here?
Do you want there to be?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I think I know why you're asking. So go ahead and roll it.
6. Damn. Raz is losing all his power. What the hell?
Well, you know what, though? I'm going to give this one to you. It's just going to be horrifying. So, you know, elves can choose to have their remains placed anywhere. And, you know, some people choose to have them placed at a shrine. But no elves are buried at this particular shrine. What they've done, however, is bury some of their, you know, their beloved, you know, animals. And so what emerges from the ground is a horrifying amalgam of bones of horses and a bear and other things kind of knitting themselves together into a walking grotesque menagerie that begins ripping people apart.
Raz, some things are too much.
You're welcome.
And actually, given the time and given the theatricality of all of this, I'm just going to kind of narrate out the rest really quick. The combination of Vil and Radish and Torley eventually kind of getting into a firing line and putting down like an elven fusillade of arrows is the kind of thing that you don't get to see all that much. These 3 rangers fire 10 arrows and somehow kill 11 people all at once. Chauncey, you eventually kind of descend off the thing, and you kind of start laying in for combat as well in your new form, which you're able to fight with. And Raz, you are barely commanding this giant bone amalgam, because you're pretty sure after a few seconds it hates being alive and wants to kill you. But you're like kind of with the strength of will forcing it to kind of bang and scrape and scrap. Eventually you end up dispatching all of them. Those that are left flee. The woman that's in charge of this whole thing, you know, kind of sheathes her sword again and takes off.
Before she takes off, I snare her by the ankle, walk over with my hunting knife, bend down, and I say, "Tell everyone you know to never return to this shrine. Don't make me regret this." And I cut my lasso off her ankle.
She says nothing, but she gets the message. And she kind of takes off. All of you kind of look at each other and Torley. Epilogue. You all missed the Weeds of Wonder because it took you a couple days to get out here. And so Torley asks if it would be okay if you all celebrated together right now. And so you all gather weeds, and Raz collects them in billowed shirts because he does not have a basket. Chauncey keeps guessing wrong on every weed. All of these are wildly poisonous.
These can't all be deadly.
Every last one of them is deadly. But, eventually all of you, kind of gather enough weeds together and you sit down under the, under the shrine to Luca, which has seen better days, but thankfully you have one of the finest elven craftspeople currently working in the Riverlands. And Torley kind of looks at all of you and says, well, old friends and new friends, I want to thank you for the rescue. I think I bit off a little more than I can chew trying to take those folks down.
We've all done it.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Then, in the shadow of this soon-to-be great statue, let us toast to abundance. To abundance of friends, new and old.
To abundance.
Here.
To abundance.
And we're going to end it right there on that toast to abundance. Thank you all very much, everybody, for giving us an extra 2 minutes. There is an awesome show coming up on 2MB Studios right after this. Please stick around for it. Also, if you like watching comedy on Twitch, 2MB Studios is the place for you to do that without a doubt. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Also, Radish, thank you for joining us for another adventure. And Bridget Copes, is there anything you want to talk about in case people want to see more Bridget Copes doing stuff on television?
Sure. If you want to see more tabletop role playing, tune into the Splorts Hub. That's sports, but with an L after the P. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. for Blittle League to watch some awesome and weird 10-year-olds solve some mysteries and fight some monsters.
So good.
Sounds pretty good to me. Everybody, if you like what you see here, we're here every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on 2MB Studios, and you can get all of our back episodes on YouTube or as a podcast. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.